You're watching Soleful Discussions.
All right, so hi, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great, I'm doing great. How did you and I meet today?
I was chilling here on the bluff and you asked me to talk.
I startled you for a second because you were like, what the hell is going
Yeah, I'm quite skittish though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's all good. Like coming out in public, like sometimes it can be a little dangerous, so I definitely get it. So I did approach you about doing an interview for my YouTube. Do you remember what the topics are we're going to cover? 3 topics.
Feet,
Reflexology,
reflexologist,
yep.
and mental health.
Mental health. Got it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when you hear the word feet, what's the first thing that goes to your mind?
What about foot pictures?
Foot pictures. Okay. You ever had any experiences with that?
No,
Okay.
but I don't know. That's what came up when you said that. I was like,
and
what?
And that's cool. Like that's your opinion. So we're gonna ask you some questions today. It'll be your opinions about how you feel about the subject. Just feel free to answer however you like. Okay.
Okay.
What about mental health? You hear that? What do you think about it?
Mental health, I think about like how we maintain a good perspective on life and how we take care of ourselves, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times when I go out and I hear this, mind, body, and soul, right?
Yeah.
Those things connected together because they like make up us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about dealing like with depression, anxiety, like some different things that maybe you've experienced that you can share with us. And I'll go through some things that I've learned like since I started this channel. Okay.
Sure.
And then lastly, reflexology. We kind of talked about it a little bit. I gave you some information, but did
Yeah.
you know that much about it?
Well, I didn't know it was with the acupuncture stuff.
yeah.
I just thought it was like maybe like stretching and because flex, right? You're thinking about flex, so like flexible. But then like reflex, like when you hit, you go to the doctor, hit your little foot or whatever, your knee.
Yeah.
And
it can tell them like if you have good senses in terms of like reacting to like your mind basically reacting to that pain.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. I'll give you some information. I just want to know how you feel about it once I'm done giving you that information. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So let's start with the first question. Okay. What is something you think we can do right now, like throughout the world, to like basically promote mental health or like make it better? What's something you think we can do right now?
Mental health, nature for sure.
Yeah.
Being in nature a lot
Absolutely.
really provides peace and a stillness for yourself. We're super in the capitalism, fast-paced energy, which brings a lot of stress towards people.
I think you were out here experiencing some of that, right? You said I just finished yoga, doing some
Yeah.
stretching, and I'm just like laying out, feeling the sun. The guy's playing the music over
Right.
here.
Well, even before that, it was definitely a struggle. I was like, oh, I should go now. I have this X, Y, and Z to do,
It'll still be there.
And then then I was like, no, I'm just gonna. The sun's out. Athena's playing.
Absolutely.
My dog.
Everybody's doing well.
Yeah. So definitely. Mental health. Also, like tribalism, right? People need people. We're interdependent, so we definitely need support systems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's definitely great. Fill in the blank on this next question. The world would be better if.
That's a loaded question.
well, not really, because it's your opinion, remember.
Right, no, but like there's just so much, right?
Yeah,
there's so much to fill in that blank.
Definitely.
I don't know. The world would be so much better if, we all practice more mindfulness. The world would be so much better if we took our shoes off and got rooted into the earth. The world would be so much better if we didn't just, we didn't have a world that was put in our survival. Like we have to survive rather than be alive,
Absolutely. Yeah, I like
the structure of our society has built us to just be in fight or flight our whole life.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I guess the world would be better if we weren't in fight or flight,
I think you said it was a loaded question, but you gave a lot of great
because I know so much.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really great. In terms of let's say a friend or a loved one.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Let's say if a friend or loved one was dealing with stress, anxiety, depression, anything like that. Is there anything that you would say or do with them to help them maybe get through that time?
Definitely there's plenty of things where I ask what they need, and if they don't know what they need, I just hold safe space. And how is holding safe space means no judgment, right? No judgment if someone's sad or depressed, and very neutral, right? No shame or guilt.
I love that.
Yeah. And then if they can't seek help, maybe help them by addressing to seek help for them, it depends, right? How intense this mental health thing that you're talking about, right? If they need therapy, if they need yoga, they need acupuncture, there's a lot of healing modalities that are quite Eastern medicine than
Yep.
just popping pills and stuff, you know.
Yep, and this is kind of why I do my interviews, and it's based on that because I think that for me, like coming up in Western culture, like that's what you usually see. Like it's like I got pain, take a pill. I got this, take a pill, and it's like literally Eastern culture completely opposite. Like let's find ways to do things more holistically in a more natural sense. And so, to me, that's intriguing, and it was like something that like really caught my attention. Learning about it, so
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Right. Oh, you're like back to that other question to fill in the blank, like us being back in our bodies, right? Because when we're back in our bodies, we'll know what we need, not a pill, right?
Absolutely.
We'll need the stretches or the whatever, right?
Yeah, it makes a difference, man. In terms of like yourself, right? Let's say somebody came to you and they were like, they gave you the power to change something about yourself, right? Is there anything you think you would change?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. There's a lot.
Okay.
You know, there's growth and change.
Very true. Evolution.
Yeah. I think maybe my deliverance of certain things, like in a state of emotionally being charged, my deliverance is not very mindful or quite aware. So yeah, certain things like that, being more aware when something's happening in my body, when I'm coming into a fight or flight, to be able to hold it down, you know, and be like, we are safe. You don't need, we don't need to be aggressive or
and that's
like.
why that mindfulness is important,
Right. Yes.
Because a lot of times I think when we do feel like that, we go based on maybe past trauma or things that we don't know, like anxiety. The anxiety comes from like, well, I don't know, the unknown, like this might happen. So
Fear.
now all of a sudden you start thinking outside of that, as opposed to like, well, wait a minute. Like a lot of times, if you think about it, it's like I'm in a public place. There's like several people around me. So something was gonna happen. Like you'd have to like do this in front of all these people. So like it's like you start to put things into perspective that way, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Practicing that mindfulness, taking that like stepping out, bigger picture stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of yourself, right? You don't have to go too in depth with this answer. You can give a surface level answer if you like, whatever you feel comfortable with. But is there anything that brings you anxiety? And if so, when you feel like you're having like an anxious moment or you're feeling anxious, do you do anything to counteract how you're feeling, like any coping mechanisms or anything?
Yeah, it's interesting because I didn't understand anxiety for a long time, but that also went with like my I'm a recovering addict, so the addiction, right? Like you numb out whatever that feeling. Thank you, and you know, now that I'm learning, like you're right in your body, and you're like, oh my God, I'm experiencing that. I am really anxious.
Yeah.
So I think what I get anxious about is definitely fear, is the unknown or not being connected or being loved, right? Like the big
Those
fears.
are the big things,
yeah,
absolutely.
you
The
know,
big
like
things
it
that
all
get you.
roots down. Even if you pinpoint a small experience, it all roots down to either like not feeling protected or not having faith, right? It's a huge faith problem that I'm not being protected. Or like not being loved, or I'm not worthy of love, right? So those, I've chalked it down to like, it's definitely not me, but it's definitely a lack of trust in a higher power, a higher concept, a higher vibration, all that. And what I do to help that anxiety is yoga, is deep breathing, also like the somatic healing of shaking out your body, like.
My
you
teacher
know,
used to do that. I remember you just brought that back to my memory. Actually, in junior high, we used to do that.
Really?
Like, literally, it was in our homeroom. Like our teacher would have us like get up when we would come back in from lunch, and she was like, "Okay, you went out there. You were like doing all this stuff. Let's shake off all that energy. Like let's get back." And like I don't remember. Like I didn't think too much about it now. But when you just said that, it literally like literally brought something back to my remembrance.
Definitely, that helps me definitely in times of anxiety or even anger. I shake it out. Like if I'm feeling fight or flight defensive, when it's like triggering something, I like shake it out. Because I've noticed if I'm angry and I'm just trying to breathe, for me, it hasn't worked yet. Yeah, it hasn't worked yet to the amount that I needed it to. Or maybe I just didn't sit still enough, long enough.
Yeah.
I needed to sit.
This has to sit
right,
still too,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Your body could be sitting still, but up here you're still thinking like,
I needed to do it longer probably. And I was like, I can't do it.
Can't do it no longer.
I'm going to shake it, you know.
You know, one of the things, because you just mentioned like being out here doing yoga and like grounding and rooting and all that. Have you heard of the grounding technique that you can use like if you're like feeling anxiety as well? Like so for me, like I have a problem with like large crowds. Like like to me it's very like makes me feel very uncomfortable. I tend to get anxious when I get around that. So one of the things that I spoke with a therapist about, she said that I could do was grounding. So she said basically like when you're out in the open and you start to feel like that, you start focusing on things that are around you that will like bring down that anxiety that you're feeling. So like I see the trees over there, they're nice, like, you know, fluffy green, you know, I feel a cool breeze. I can hear birds chirping, or I hear the guy playing the music over there. I smell like the ocean, whatever, like, and then eventually like you start to like not focus so much on the problem, but you start focusing more on like being mindful.
Yes.
Like what's going on in the exact moment. So I was like, that's been very helpful for me, like when I start to feel like that. So just wanted to share that information.
Thank you. No, I definitely will.
Maybe that might be something you could do when you start feeling angry.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on in this moment right now? Like, absolutely.
The trees.
Yeah, the trees, absolutely. Now fill in the blank on this next question, okay? When I think about my feet, I feel
tender.
Tender. Okay. Elaborate.
Yes, when I think of my feet, I think of tender, because I've learned that the feet are like the biggest pores that consume things, energy, nutrients, can relieve toxins, all that, right? So with my feet, they get really tender, right? If I'm emotional, so you like massage it out. Or yeah, like, you know, I've practiced yoga long enough, and a teacher once said, like, when you massage your feet, like, it's an emotional release sometimes. And I think when I think of tender, it's because I think feet kind of get neglected, right? There's not much gratitude. We're just like, this is what they're supposed to do.
And so this is part of my channel too. So as we go along, you're gonna understand what I'm saying, but this is why that's part of my channel as well. Now you kind of mentioned like different stretches and stuff for your feet. Have you ever heard of Yang yoga before?
Yang yoga. I've heard of Yin yoga.
Yeah.
Yang yoga?
I think it's Yin yoga.
It's like the slow one, really, really slow, and they stay.
There's one that you do that's basically for your feet. And so like I think it's Yang. I think. It's
okay.
Yang,
I haven't heard that.
I interviewed a lady before. As a matter of fact, I'll give you the video that I interviewed
her.
But she was talking about that she's a yoga instructor, and she was talking about like this yoga is for your feet and it's to like help out those areas that sometimes you don't like really pay attention to. So it might be helpful for you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So follow-up question to the question I just asked: have you ever received compliments about your feet? Has anybody ever said to you, "Hey, I think you have nice feet. Your feet are nice," or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you got a compliment like that from somebody, in the moment, how did it make you feel?
Felt good.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, so you kind of was just like, oh, it's flattering, or
yeah.
Okay, nice. Because I think that's something that people don't often, like you said, pay attention to.
Yeah.
Give compliments about, right? And I think as long as the context is fine.
Right.
That's what matters, right? Absolutely. In terms of compliments you've received, right? Do you prefer to receive more compliments from men or women? Like, which group do you prefer more from?
I guess it's easier to accept it from men.
Okay.
It's more difficult to accept it from women.
Okay.
I think in my experience, there's been a definite woman wound with the tribe, for my experience.
So women tend to be a little catty and things like that.
Well, you know, we've been raised to be more in competition than men have, I feel. So you don't know if it's coming from a genuine place. Also, I'm speaking from past trauma. I'm not saying all women are that way. But in my past trauma, I've felt betrayed or uncomfortable or wasn't genuine. And so then more so a little more uncomfortable when women compliment. Like, what's the angle rather than men, I guess.
Okay, like, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's dope. Like, and I often get different responses to this. I get some people who are like, it doesn't matter, like they take it the same way from anybody. Some are like, I lean more to women because I like the like women empowerment, things like that. And some people say exactly what you said, like, I prefer to get it from men just because I don't know what most women are thinking, and my relationships in the past haven't been too good. So that's definitely dope to hear. In terms of compliments, if you can think back on compliments that you've received throughout your life, right? Was there a certain compliment for you that when you received it from somebody, you're like, man, that really made my day. Like, that was like really something good to hear?
Someone said my singing was like cursive writing. I thought that was a really interesting, like.
Wow, that's so.
Isn't that?
Too.
Yes, it was.
It's like
it was
cursive writing.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, it's so. Yeah, that's poetic in itself.
That is poetic, just like very.
So it was very, it's
like
very
that.
unique.
Yeah, I like that. That's definitely you can tell that they definitely put some thought into like making that type of comment. It wasn't just like your general.
Yeah.
Hey, your hair is great or something like that. It was like really detailed. I love that.
Yeah. Stuck with me.
In terms of pedicures, how often do you get pedicures?
I don't get any.
Okay.
I think I've had like two or three my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
let me ask you this: have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before? Is that
No.
okay, so that's when you go see a podiatrist specialist of the foot, and so what they do is a lot of people think it's just for like when you have a problem. They can do upkeep and give you information about your feet. Like when you go see a dentist, how you go check out my teeth, how my teeth doing. Same thing for your feet. So basically what they do is they tell you how your toenails are growing, if it's the right grain. They tell you if your toe alignment is good. They take a look at your feet for like dead skin, fungus. They do all the work there with like medical grade equipment. It's actually like the cleanest possible pedicure, and it involves more information, not just I'm going and get my toes painted and I'm out of here.
Right.
But what would your thoughts be on something like that? Like if you had the opportunity to go see somebody like that, would you be open to that? Would that be cool?
Yeah, I would definitely be open to that because like one of my toes here hurts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You might have something wrong there that you
Yeah.
don't know about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, it might be good to go see him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In terms of shoes, how often you wear open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops, things like that?
I usually try not to wear shoes.
Oh. Barefooter. Love that.
But like in the city, it's definitely difficult, and it's not like the best. It's like safest, right?
Yeah.
So when I am in the city, I usually wear like moccasins, so like flat.
I see.
Yeah, flat covers,
Yeah.
or like boots, like booties. But yeah, I mean, or tennis shoes, like workout tennis shoes.
My girlfriend, you and her would be best friends. And
Yeah.
Well, she's from Northern California, and so up there a lot of like trees and stuff.
Yeah.
She grew up playing outside, no shoes, just running around. And me, I grew up mainly in the city, so for me, it's always been you got shoes on. Like that's how it goes. So yeah, absolutely. In terms of going barefoot, you kind of just mentioned a little bit, but if you could just give us a little more info, how often do you do that? Is that like a part of your daily routine?
Yeah, I try and get like rooted in the earth at least once, you know. So whether it's at the beach, going on a small hike.
Yeah.
Hiking is definitely like you need a bit of training. When I first started, I was like right. But you get used to it. You kind of get more mindful, right?
Yeah.
Like more present
Exactly.
of where you're stepping. Because when we're wearing shoes, we're like protected.
Yeah.
So you start understanding the little rocks. Like that's gonna hurt, right?
Yeah, be a little bit more gentle with this one, a little bit more sturdy with that one.
Right. So yeah, at least once a day, but not as often because I've been kind of living in the city lately. But
Okay.
yeah, I usually go camping out for like months.
That's
and
dope.
Yeah.
My girlfriend wants to start doing that. Camping, I know they have glamping too, and like she wants to do all that type of stuff.
Nice,
Absolutely.
you should.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this because we talked a little bit about it, but what if you can describe a feeling that you get like when you go barefoot versus like when you're wearing shoes, what would the feeling be?
It's freeing. It feels like a breath of fresh air. Like, my toesies can breathe, you
so
know.
a Reiki master who I was talking to explained it to me like this, because like I was asking her like, this is like when I first started getting into this, and she told me, she said, imagine like when you were a kid, and like you would do things that like you didn't really think about like so deeply into it, like what's gonna happen with this. You just went around, you were kind of more free to do things. She's like, when you go barefoot, that's the feeling that you get. You get that same type of feeling back. And so she said that to me, then it like clicked in my head, like, I get it now. Yeah, because at first I was like, I mean, I got it. Like it's like you're going barefoot, okay, free. But then she said that to me, those specific words, it literally like opened it more up for me. So that was definitely dope. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I appreciate that. So now, in this moment right now, can we see what your feet look like?
Sure.
All right, cool. Let me have you put them down flat first. And then I love the owl tattoo that you got going on here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a little information about your feet. First
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, your toe alignment, if I'm looking at it correctly, looks like you might have the Roman toe alignment.
What's that?
So there's different types of toe alignments
Okay.
for different people. Some people have what's called an Egyptian toe alignment. So your bigger toe is like bigger, and then every other toe kind of goes in like a descending order. And then some people have what's called an Greek toe alignment, which is the second toe is longer, and then all the other toes are kind of like go down in that staircase.
Yeah.
But some people have a Roman, which is almost like those toes almost go in like an even order. So it's not really, one's not really longer than the other. And I think that you have that one where it's like they're almost kind of like the same size. So that's pretty interesting right there. So I don't know if you've ever heard about that, but yeah,
I'll have to look that up.
yeah, you might have some of that in you. You never know. So absolutely. All right, cool. Let me have you, if you can, feet out like this, straight. Okay, and put them close together if you can. All right, cool. And so let me ask you this. Been talking for a little bit now. How are you feeling?
What?
How are you
Good.
feeling?
Fine.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then if you feel, we're going to go through a couple more exercises, okay?
Okay.
So first of all, let me give you the mental health of why I got started with my channel, and hopefully it's going to make sense now. So have you ever heard of exposure therapy before? Is that familiar to you? So exposure therapy is for people who feel uncomfortable in certain situations or scenarios. You might even have a phobia about something, right? So like I was telling you about crowds earlier, like I'm
Right.
comfortable with crowds, right? And sometimes even in the past, approaching people wasn't the easiest, right? So one of the things you can do is like start to put yourself out there, and you do a little bit more and more at a time, right? Because a lot of times our experiences go based on our comfort zone, and we say, I'm comfortable here, but beyond that, I don't know what's going to happen over there. And so you'll literally like tell yourself, nah, I'm not going to do it because of this. I don't know what's going to happen. And so a lot of times you can prevent yourself from experiences because like you're so focused on like things that you've heard that have happened or things that have happened in the past, and you're not focusing on just being in the moment, just being mindful and focusing on that. What's the information say to you? So when I heard about that, I was like, man, that's really dope. In the past, I've been an overthinker, and I was like, I want to get better. So I started like applying some of that. I started to see how my life was like changing a little bit at a time, right?
Yeah.
So I then had the idea. So during quarantine, a lot of women, they were getting into football, and that was a thing, right? I wanted to have a channel where basically I go out and approach women. Like, I don't know you, you've never met before, right?
Right.
We're having a conversation, like, are you comfortable during the conversation? Yeah, you feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
We get to that portion right there where I ask that question, can we see what your feet look like? And then some women tend to feel uncomfortable at that time. Some women continue to be comfortable, and they're just like, yeah, I have no problems with that.
Right.
So it's to get those different reactions that I get to see, like, who are the people who can be comfortable, who can't be comfortable, what's the reasoning for why they are not comfortable, and then we try to see if we can get them out of that comfort zone. So can you come out of the comfort zone, or do you get stuck there? So yeah, that's kind of the challenge behind it. It's for me because what I'm trying to do is, you mentioned earlier, a lot of people when they think about feet, they think about like negative things. There's like negative connotations attached to it. So my challenge is about trying to improve that through my actions and try to make it more of a positive thing. So
yeah, like it's a lot of information in your feet, like you were sharing.
Absolutely. So that's what
about yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I give all this information. We talk about this, and then we just try to see if we can have a great discussion.
Cool.
So what are your thoughts about that? What my channel is doing and everything?
I think that's beautiful. I think you really honed into something, a language that touched to your soul, and it's creating a purpose for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your channel to share more information that our feet should be really more grateful for. We should be more grateful for, and also more pay attention, like you said, pay attention to it more.
Those signs, man, because a lot of times, like I've spoken with people sometimes where they have issues and they've never gone to see a podiatrist before, and I'm like,
yeah, when you said that, I was like, I need to check it out.
Check it out, and like they even have deals that are on Groupon. You can look up and like medical pedicure, and they'll show you somewhere to go. That it's like a deal. So yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
So let's talk a little bit about reflexology, and I'll let you get up out of here.
Okay. Yeah.
So reflexology is all about the different like pressure points, like I mentioned earlier. They connect to like different parts of your body, right? So like if you go to somebody, you go get a massage. There's people who can target different areas for you that like can like basically alleviate stress and tension to those areas, right? So let's say, for example, like through massage, acupuncture, acupressure, you can alleviate like stress and tension. So let's say, example, you're somebody who deals with migraines. I don't know if you do or not, or you know somebody.
I do. I have them.
You deal with them.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's actually a portion of your hands and your feet you can massage that alleviates
Where are
tension.
they?
Absolutely. So if you put your feet back out, I'll show you right now. So I'm showing you on your feet, and I'll show you on your hands. Okay. So right here at the base of your big toe, have your partner apply pressure there and massage in a circular motion. Okay. Right? After a while, you'll start to feel it. You want to do that on both feet.
Both feet, got it.
You put your hands out, okay? And let me get a little closer. So right here, apply pressure there, circular motion, same thing. Use oils, essential oils, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. But like doing that will start to allow that tension that you start to feel in those moments to go down. Okay?
And then what about
There's also
neck?
a piercing you can get to. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I heard that. I thought, on your ear or something.
There's a couple women who I've talked to that have like, they have told me, they're like, I had migraines, I went and got that, and I started feeling them less frequently. So there you go.
Do you know anything for your neck?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not gonna accept there and start giving you information that I don't
that's
know.
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll stick to the stuff that I do, though.
Of course.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. But so when we usually get to reflexology, we like to talk about sensitivity, like and how you feel in those different moments. So you said you haven't really gotten pedicures before. Do you know if your feet are very sensitive, or are they less sensitive?
For sure, I feel like they're a bit ticklish.
Okay.
And where I was telling you I was having trouble on one of the knuckles.
Okay.
On my big toe, that's pretty sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah, so when someone applies pressure there to, like how you said, massage it right there. Okay. It's a bit. Well, so you're saying massage here or here for the headaches?
The base of your big toe. So
so here?
Yeah, no, more up. Yeah, right there.
Oh, okay, got it.
Pressure there, circular motion.
Got it. So here, this is where,
that's where you're feeling that kind of like on the ball of your foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I got some things for you that you do, but first, in terms of sensitivity, first of all, do you mind if we test it? Because I have a trick for being less sensitive, and I always like to show that during the
Sure.
test. I have a little tool we're going to use to kind of test it out. Cool. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try it on both feet, and then I want you to tell me where you feel it at the most, and then which foot is most sensitive.
Sure.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, cool. And so if you put your feet back out, straight. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with your right, then we're going to go to the left. Tell me where you feel it at the most, which foot is most sensitive, okay?
Okay.
So kind of flex your feet a little bit more up there, like this, okay? So 1, 2, 3, and that's pretty sensitive. What's the sensitivity? Give me a scale. 1 out of 10.
Like 8.
Like 8. Okay. Let's try this side, then I'm going to give you the trick. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then
Ooh.
this one less or more?
Yeah, this one's a little bit less.
A little bit less, so it's a little bit more manageable for
Yeah.
you. Okay, cool. So here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
While I'm doing that, I want you to wiggle your toes. You tell me if you feel it more or less.
Okay.
Wiggle. More or less.
It's less.
Do you know why?
Maybe because I'm focusing on wiggling my toes.
That's part of it.
Okay.
So also this, like when you wiggle your toes, basically it sends the energy. So like imagine energy going to one area, it gets spread out to like all over your foot as opposed to just one area. So that's a trick for you. Like if you start to feel sensitive, anybody, I don't know if your partner's tickling you or anything like that. If it does, wiggle your toes a little bit, it'll help you out. Let's try over here. Wiggle here. And then less, right?
Yeah, way less.
You don't even feel it really,
yeah.
right?
You give me the information. I was like, well, we got
There it is.
this.
So we're gonna do 2 more things. I'm gonna do some stretches with you, and then I'm gonna show you a couple tools you can use at home to like create more flexibility and dexterity in your feet.
Okay, cool.
Cool. And these are things that you can go buy at Target, very cheap. Watch when you see them, you're gonna be like, cool, that's really dope. So what I want you to do, put your feet back close together. And what I want you to do first, bend your toes, make a fist. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing that.
Just discomfort on
in
the
that
ball.
area that you were talking about earlier. Okay, cool. Relax. Spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort. Easy to do, hard to do?
Easy to do. It kind of feels good to drop my big toe like that, yeah.
Cool, cool.
Move around.
And then just wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds. Tell me if you feel any pain, discomfort, any cramping, anything happening after a while? Or does it feel pretty standard?
Feels pretty standard.
Okay, cool. So those are some of the movements at home, like when you're just not doing anything. I would like, suggest doing that more because imagine this, like when you work out, you go lift weights, like the more you do it, right, the more easier it becomes, right? So like some of those movements, if you just try them out at home, just doing nothing, it'll start to create more flexibility for you.
Okay.
So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna try 2 things. So first, tennis ball.
Okay.
So all you're gonna do is just put your foot on it and then roll it. You wanna roll it back and forth from front to back. So now what this does is you should start to feel like almost a little bit of back here in the back here, and probably at the bottom of your foot, like a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
There, right? Almost like it's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. Try the left. Let's see. And then I'm gonna have another one for you to try now. You try this one, you should be able to feel it a little more. It might be helpful for that toe of yours that's like bothering you.
Okay.
So how did that feel?
Feels nice. Yeah.
Try this one.
Ooh, yeah.
Tell me what you feel with that one.
Oh, that's nice.
That feels a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because kind of
The
gets into
firm.
those areas, right, that you can't really get to. So these are things that you can do. Like I would suggest in the morning time, right? You wake up before you go out, because it's almost like when you get in your car, right? You want to warm your car up a little bit, let it the fluids kind of get to an optimal temperature. Something you do in the morning to just like kind of create that flexibility and stuff for your feet. So I would try that out if you have an opportunity.
Yeah,
Cool?
thank you.
Sound good? All right, so let's wrap up the interview, okay?
Okay.
In terms of my approach, I came up to you. I know I startled you for a second.
It's okay.
But I came up to you. I asked you to do the interview. Did you feel my approach was good? Was it bad? How did you feel about it?
I was intrigued, but yeah, once I have more information as of why, because you have feet, mental health, and reflexology, and I was like, what's the angle? Yeah, what's the intention?
What are we doing here?
Yeah. So once I found out the intention, I said, oh yeah, for sure,
Absolutely.
definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's a little bit hard, but I want it that way on purpose because a lot of people don't think of those things connected.
Right.
So, but as you go along and you're talking and like you start to get more information, you're like, oh, never thought about that. So that's what I'm trying to create. Absolutely. In terms of the interview, start to finish, right? Could you see how everything was going along in the line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new from the information?
Yeah, it definitely made sense. Okay. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about my feet. I didn't know that you could tell by different shapes or the bed of your toes. You know, like I was always interested in like palm reading and stuff, but it's kind of like you're reading feet and able to share people's mental health and their physicality of how well they're doing, you know, and what they need to work on.
If you go see a reflexologist, actually they have a map. I call it like a map because when they show it, it's like a foot, right? But it gives you all these areas. It's called zone therapy. So it's like all these areas that'll tell you like, if you apply pressure here, if you do this here, this impacts this area, this impacts this area. So like, it's definitely something that I've always found to be interesting, and I think more people should definitely like try to.
Yeah, definitely.
Last thing I always ask on these interviews: is there anything you can say to my channel that could be helpful to them? Maybe it's a life lesson you learned, wise words somebody shared with you, anything like that you could say that could be helpful to us.
I guess don't give up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth working on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it may seem hard sometimes, right? I remember I lost my job just a couple weeks ago, about 3-4 weeks ago. And I remember like at the time I wanted to like seem like I was like doing well, but I'll be honest, there was a little bit of fear there because I was like, I don't know what the next steps are. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Actually, like 2 weeks later, 2 weeks to the date, I ended up getting a job offer, and it was like I tried to like keep the positivity going no matter what, and I feel like it helped out a lot.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So like
definitely.
you said, don't give up, just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Absolutely.
Keep
Love
on
that.
going.
Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate
Thank
you stopping for this
you.
interview with us. Okay, and we hope that you have a great one. All
I
right.
love you too.
All
Thank
right.
you.